January 8th City Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation by Vice Chair Oglesby.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I've had Elder Chris Eves to come and give the invocation. He is an elder at the church that I go to, Resurrected Reformed Baptist Church. Elder.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, Lord, I pray that you would hear my cry tonight. Lord, I pray that you would give attention, Lord, with your ear unto our pleas for mercy. Lord, you are sovereign, you are holy, you are righteous. Lord, like you, there is none other. You know our hearts, you know our thoughts, you know our actions, each and every one. Lord, you are omniscient. Lord, as such, Lord, you know where we stand before you. You know our sin, you know our unrighteousness, you know our ungodliness. And Lord, as such, Lord, your wrath is just upon us. And as we consider the world around us, Lord, we consider, Lord, the violence that is there, the unrest, the poverty and the want. But Lord, we know that since we stand here today, living and breathing, Lord, that you have been merciful to each and every soul that is in this building. And Lord, you have graced us with a council, with leadership within this city, Lord, who sit at the gates and make decisions regarding the welfare of each and every soul within this city. And Lord, they are here to restrain the evil, Lord, that has beset us this day. Lord, as such, I pray you would give each and every man, each and every woman that sits on this council, Lord, tonight and Lord, for this year, Lord, give them wisdom. Give them discernment, Lord, that they might know righteousness from unrighteousness. Lord, give them understanding that they might know truth from error. Lord, that they might know your way from man's way. Lord, I pray with that wisdom that you have given them that you would grant them faith. Lord, they be obedient to your call and to your word. Lord, that you would grant unto them love. Lord, that when opposition arises, Lord, either from within or from without, Lord, that we would be forgiving and merciful and graceful. And Lord, that you would grant them hope. Lord, they would persevere, Lord, through the difficult times, Lord, that we know will lie ahead. And Lord, in the end, whether the day is said to be good or whether the day is said to be bad, Lord, that we would be thankful. Lord, as you have told us, Lord, to be thankful in all things. And Lord, I pray that as you have been good to us, you have been merciful to us, and you have been patient with us, that, Lord, that we would turn in repentance unto you. And these things I ask in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, who is the sovereign King over all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Elder.
Thank you. Have a motion on the minutes? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. We have no special presentation, so Madam Clerk, let's do ordinances. Final read, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 2, relative to the Fire and Police Pension Fund.
All right, Councilman Henderson.
Move for approval.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. B, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a portion of the 5900 block of Hancock Road to allow for continued development of the Chattanooga Metropolitan Airport as detailed on the attached map subject to certain conditions.
Councilman Gilbert. All right, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. Down to ordinances. First read, please. 6A.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a sewer easement located at Rosedale Drive and in the 5900 block of Hancock Road as detailed on the attached map.
Councilman Gilbert. All right, a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. B, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a sewer easement located in the 1500 block of Long Street as detailed on the attached map.
Move for approval. Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. C, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a portion of the 100 block of Knowles Street detailed on the attached map to resolve a legacy encroachment subject to certain conditions.
Okay, Councilman Mitchell.
Move approval.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. Down to resolutions. 7A, please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to refinance approximately $1,526,000 in U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD Section 108 Guarantee Loan Program funds.
Councilman Gilbert, followed by Councilwoman Burrs. Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. B, please.
A resolution authorizing the Chief Human Resources Officer to enter into a service and licensing agreement with governmentjobs.com, DBA, NeoGov, to provide HR software services for onboard and performance management systems, in addition to the current recruitment and applicant tracking services for an initial term of 12 months, with 2 options for the annual renewal thereafter for an annual cost of $78,213.45.
Councilman Gilbert. All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. C, please.
A resolution approving a special exceptions permit for an existing liquor store change in ownership located at 3948 Brainerd Road.
Councilwoman Burrs.
City Attorney, just for the record, these new people have no complaints. The store has no complaints. This is just a matter of formality, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Change in ownership is required by our code, our zoning ordinance.
All right. Did the former location have any complaints against it?
No, ma'am, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. Move approval.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. All right, D, please.
A resolution authorizing the award of contract number W17004-201 to Reeves Young LLC of Sugar Hill, Georgia for Chattanooga Wet Weather Combined Sewer Storage Phase 1, a consent decree project in the amount of $569,100 with a contingency amount of $2 million for an amount not to exceed $48,569,100 subject to SRF loan approval.
Councilman Henderson.
Mr. Chairman, at our committee meeting earlier today, we decided that maybe we don't have all of our ducks in a row just yet on this item. I'm going to move for a 2-week deferral to January the 22nd.
All right, I have a motion and a second for a deferral till January 22nd. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. All right, thank you, sir. E, please.
A resolution authorizing the approval of change order number 2 final for CDM Smith, Inc. relative to contract number W12024-101 sewer rehabilitation for Chattanooga Creek 4 sub-basin, a consent decree project for an increased amount of $11,663.59 for revised contract amount not to exceed $702,904.59.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. F, please.
A resolution authorizing the award of contract numbers R16015-201 and R17002-201 to CleanCo of Chattanooga, Tennessee, paving at Irwin Riverfront Marina parking lot and parks maintenance building in the amount of $182,199.30 with a contingency amount of $8,000 for an amount not to exceed $190,199.30.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. G, please.
A resolution to approve the administrator for the Department of Public Works to accept a donation from the Parks Central Neighborhood Association of about 44 trees with an approximate value of $4,500 to be planted along the city's right-of-way in the 900, 1,000, and 1,100 blocks of Main Street from Central Avenue to South Holtzclaw.
Councilman Byrd, followed by Councilwoman Coonrod. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Chair. And before I vote, I wanted to just say one thing about this, that this is not the city of Chattanooga providing the money to get trees, because I know a lot of times that'll get taken out of context, but this group of people raised funds to get trees in their neighborhood, and they're giving us the money to make sure that that happens. So if any other community here, because I know we have a lot of advocates for communities out in the audience, if you want to get together and raise funds for the sole purpose of your community, wherever you reside, you can do the exact same thing and have this same impact. That's what coming together is doing, and that's also getting the job done without asking the city to do it for you, right? I second this vote.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. H, please.
A resolution authorizing the approval of change order number 1 final for JDH Company, Inc. of Chattanooga, Tennessee, relative to contract number Y17016-201, replacement roofing system for Eastdale YFD Center Building for a decreased amount of $5,300 to release the contingency amount of $14,000 for a revised contract amount of $133,925.
Councilwoman Coonrod, followed by Councilman Byrd. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. Aye, please.
A resolution authorizing a 4-year term for on-call blanket contracts for professional surveying services, contract number E17002-901 with the following firms: 1, Arcadis US Inc., 2, ASA Engineers and Consultants Inc., 3, Civic Engineering and Information Technologies Inc., 4, Earthworks LLC, 5, the RLS Group Inc., 6, S&ME Inc., and 7, Vaughn and Melton Consulting Engineers Inc., in the amount of $300,000.
All right, Councilman Gilbert.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you. Jay, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Transportation to enter into an agreement with NAPCO Electric Company, Inc., relative to contract number T15027-201 for construction services associated with Chattanooga Regional ITS Phase 1A CCTV cameras in the CBD in the amount of $921,486 with a contingency amount of $92,148.60 for a total amount of $1,013,634.60.
Move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Yes. All right, those are all our items on our agenda, which takes us down to purchases. Ms. Woodard?
Good evening.
Good evening.
The first 5 items we have for you tonight are on behalf of Public Works. The first being a purchase of Flight Xylem pump repair parts to be purchased from Nedro and Associates, Inc. in an amount of $36,785. Next, we have a blanket contract renewal for sewer video and sonar inspection services to be awarded to Amtech Surveying, Inc. in an estimated annual amount of $600,000. Next, a blanket contract renewal for mixer gear reducer repair services to be awarded to SPX Flow US LLC in an estimated annual amount of $150,000. Next, a blanket contract renewal for membrane plates to be awarded to Andritz Inc. in an estimated annual amount of $600,000. Next, a new blanket contract for air compressor maintenance and repair and services to be awarded to Blake & Pendleton in an estimated annual amount of $250,000. And finally, on behalf of the police department, we have a new blanket contract for crime scene supplies to be awarded to Tritech Forensics Inc. in an estimated annual amount of $30,000.
What's the pleasure of the council? Okay, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is nay. Thank you, Ms. Woodard.
Thank you.
Takes us down to other business. We've got a couple of items here for the city attorney, but before that, is there anybody on the council that has other business? See Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you so much, Chair. Let me make sure I got my words right. Last year, my colleague and I went through a year of idle threats, harassment. For myself, particularly, people just invading my personal space, not just of myself, but my family and my friends. Although it's public record of where we live at, but to have people unannounced, that's not your family member or your friend, to just show up at your doorstep with idle threats and things of that nature is just not acceptable. Since I've been on the council, got elected onto a council, it has been a lot of disrespect that has taken place towards elected officials in the chambers and outside of the chambers. I reached out to, and I will say this has nothing to do with our mayor because he often gets blamed for a lot of things. I reached out to our city attorney to provide me with some specific information as to our laws and statutes that are against making threats and harassment of elected officials. So, Mr. Noble, if you will please share those statutes, please.
Sure. You made a request, was there any policy or state law that deals with threats towards elected officials? The state law is pretty specific regarding harassment and civil rights intimidation here under TCA 39-17-308 and 39-17-309. It specifically has provisions in there that if someone is basically communicating a threat to someone where they are intending that communication to be a threat of harm to a person, and a reasonable person would perceive that communication to be a threat of harm, then that is a crime under state law. So that's one issue, at least, that would be there. Normally, that can't be done usually by an email or some type of communication that's trying to offend, annoy, alarm, or frighten the recipient of the email. So that's something that at least is a protection to you regardless of whether you are a city council member or whether you are a private individual in this state. And if it's done for the purpose of discriminating against you or trying to cause you to be in fear because of your race, sex, or national origin, then that is also an offense here under Tennessee law.
Thank you for that information that you provided. And just to go ahead and finish out my statement is that for 2019 moving forward, I would not be putting up with those type threats at all. I would not live my life in fear, looking over my shoulders as if I'm running from gangbangers that's out to cause me harm towards my family and my friends. It's just not acceptable, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. So if any of these actions continue to take place, I will be sure to address the issues by the decision that you have made to continue to act with that type behavior, and you will be honored with a charge. I just wanted that to be on the record to reflect that. It's nothing personal against anyone, but my safety has been at risk for quite some time, and I no longer will be tolerating that behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Byrd.
Thank you, Chair. I definitely echo Councilwoman Coonrod's concerns. We have a lot to do in this community. A lot of times people come up and say things that are so untrue. I really have a lot of respect for the women and men that are up here at this council. And in 2018, it just was a lot of disrespect and a lot of things that went on that should have never went on, especially in this facility. Martin Luther King stated that there's nothing more dangerous in the world than sincere ignorance or enthusiastic stupidity. And a lot of times people will come up and say things that are untrue, that are say false statements, and think that just because they scream it out loud or because they have so much compassion behind their words that these things are true. We do and are concerned about our constituents, about the well-being of our homeless community, about the gang and crime situation. We're in these seats because we love what we do, and just because you don't see us up here doesn't mean we're not doing the work. You don't see the work being done here a lot of times because a lot of times the work is done behind closed doors. But I just asked everyone in the audience to please call us. Please come sit down and talk with us. If it's something you want to champion for, if it's something that you want to be a part of, it's nothing to come sit down and talk to one of us. And I promise you that any man or woman up here would be more than happy to sit down and hear your concerns. So please, let's let 2019 be a productive year, and let's do something to change our city and put a smile on the bad things and the disrespectful things that have happened in our community. Let's make things better this year. And I promise you, I'll be one of the ones to help and stand with you in doing that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman. I see no other lights. Mr. Attorney, would you like to address the two items that we have on the agenda?
Yes, sir. There is a certificate of compliance for Cavia 3 Inc. Liquor store. It's in a District 6 location in there, and that was the purpose for the special exceptions permit, I believe, earlier this evening. There is also an approval for certification for a new grocery store wishing to sell wine, Max Convenience Stores, LLC, Circle K at 4026 Shallowford Road. And I'm sorry, I do not have the documents to pass around for approval at this point because we have not had a break this afternoon for me to be able to get them from Mr. Reisman. Sorry.
Do we need to do that next week, Phil?
We can, if I can get them passed around to the members, it would probably be best to defer it 1 week. It might be easier.
Okay, can we just put it on? This
Yes.
isn't a vote, so let's just put it on this week.
Put it on this.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, that takes it down to committee reports. Councilwoman Burrs. No report. Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Byrd. No report. Councilwoman Coonrod. Hit your button, sweetheart. Hit your button. There you go.
Our report today on our winter camp at what's going on with the Youth and Family Development. It's been a great winter break. This year we provided just 8 days of service versus 12, but every kid had the opportunity to explore a great winter break and to participate in things that they normally wouldn't have, such as ice skating and different things like that. So we're doing some amazing things with our Youth and Family Development Centers. If you guys would like to be involved with that effort of making sure that we're changing the lives of everybody, no matter what your race is, your age, all of those things, then I encourage you to please get involved. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Gill. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Chairman. The Planning and Zoning Committee did meet today where we covered all items on our agenda, including a short report on ADUs. We will have another Planning and Zoning Committee meeting next week where we did miss one item on our agenda at the end of the meeting, which was an update by John Bridger on progress made towards our steep slope and floodplain discussion.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting this afternoon, and we'll have another one in 2 weeks following the agenda session.
Sounds good. Councilman Oglesby.
No report.
Thank you, sir. All right, committee reports being finished. That takes us to the time in our agenda of recognition of persons wishing to address the council on non-agenda items. Is there anybody here this evening that would like to address the council? Yes, we have Mr. Attorney.
Yes, sir. The City Council in 2017 adopted rules regarding public comment, and at the end of each council meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public that wish to address the council. The rules that apply to this opportunity are each speaker wishing to address the council is only recognized at the microphone provided in the front of the room, can't have more than 5 minutes to speak, have to address the council upon matters within their legislative and judicial authority, can't use vulgar or obscene language or use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate other people, address all statements to the body rather than to an individual, and the council and the chairperson will not recognize any person, neighborhood association, or organization to speak during non-agenda matters portion more than twice in a 30-day time period. You're ready to go, Mr. Bell.
Evening.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. As the attorney alluded, my name is Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox. Been out here for quite some time. To my councilwoman, Ms. Coonrod, I'm sorry to hear that you've had some harassing woes in your experience as a public rep, as a city representative. For Whom the Bell Tolls was a book that I wrote back in 2013. It was confiscated by a member of the Upward Bound staff at UTC just last year. Its compilation deals with 128 pages of strife in the life of Monty Bell, a homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, a citizen of Chattanooga, since my return to this city, regrettably, since 1992. On December the 10th, which was last month, after being heralded with an unbelievable episode of attacks by the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, Chattanooga CPD Department, the circuit courts of Hamilton County deputies, its Hamilton County attorney, the attorneys for the city of Chattanooga, its mayor, and many more. Because of a lack of time, we don't have enough time to tell you how many public officials have attacked this one man that's been living on these filthy streets for about 30 years. I came to you to ask you to assist me in helping a young lady that was traumatized by the fact that she felt left out, misused and abused as a black woman in my city. That hurt me to my heart. And I asked someone who I thought would help her to do that. That didn't happen. Just recently, I asked a person who has a radio program to help me with a young lady who's homeless on the street, who for many of her years volunteered her services like I did for so many, for the television and radio stations and newspaper publications in this city, and received absolutely nothing for it. I asked her to help her, and she didn't. Mr. Toulis, that sits here with his microphone and his video camera and his, well, I guess he acts like he's Dick Clark, America's oldest teenager, when it comes to black people and their problems in the city of Chattanooga. I asked him on the 23rd day of May to assist me in retrieving documents that were stolen from me by a person who should have been assisting me that was right across the street from the Salvation Army. He did not. So now, when I come to this city council, as I often have, even before it was a city council, and I ask the members of this city council to assist Monty Bell to uplift fallen humanity in my neighborhood and community, they do not. So now, I don't know where you all get off, but let me tell you where I'm going to get on. Just recently, I asked the state of Tennessee, get these effeminate judges who seem to be a part of my life out of my life. Because I don't want to be a person like so many that's constantly bombarded before this criminal justice system, but you leave me no choice. So now, I told you the last time I was here that I would tell you what you owe me. $9.11 billion in punitive damages is what you're getting ready to pay me for what you've just done with UTC. $11.11 billion in compensatory damages is what you're getting ready to pay me. That's just what you've done to me with UTC. Now, we're not talking about the crimes that happened when Dr. Burrs was young and on the council under Ron Littlefield. No, we're just talking about what just happened. We've got fraud on the court with you guys. We've got racketeering with you guys. We're going to start tomorrow to see why Judge Greenhart's and Judge J.B. Bennett and Tom Greenhart's has been a very influential part in my life. I don't have men in my life, and I'm sick of these effeminate white men being a part of my life. I've got a whole lot of white women that support Monty Bell, and not one of them have charged me with domestic violence. I've got a whole lot of white women that's been supporting me since day one, and not a one of them has charged me with a domestic violence case. So I'm here tonight and will be at the county tomorrow to ask them, how did this J.B. Bennett, a man whom I've never met a day in my life, how does this Cal Hedrick, another effeminate that I've never met in my life, how does this, oh man, there's so many of you that I've never met, and you're getting the hell out of my life. Starting tonight.
Mr. Monty Bell, before you leave, Mr. Bell, whether he realized it or not, I've been working the last four weeks to help him get Joanne off of the street. A lady named Joanne who's in a wheelchair off of the street, and he walked out before I could tell him I was successful in getting help to get her a placement in a home. Councilwoman Coonrod, I do apologize for the things that are happening to you. I certainly do not want any violence against anybody on this council. However, this council has its own body of rules, which does describe in its rules that people on this council cannot harass or slander or even speak out of turn against anybody on the council, and as well as anybody within the public. And so my mama would say is, if you're a big dog and you jump off the porch, sometimes you got to accept the consequences of the actions that you take. And that's not saying that you deserve violence, but you did make some slanderous statements, and you did make some very haughty statements that you did apologize for. But understand that for the public, while I did forgive you, the public may not be so forgiving, and give them some time. And that's all I'm saying. As far as this council, the city of Chattanooga is not doing a very great job, whether we're talking about the mayor and whether we're even talking about the council. And even Councilwoman Burrs, I can appreciate your sentiment on the ADUs and saying that, acknowledging that you guys make far too hasty decisions and that you guys should think long and hard about the impacts. They're not just today. We're talking about impacts that will impact generations that have yet to come. And so understand what it is like for a young person like me, and I continue to preach this, that it's difficult for a 30-year-old, I'm a millennial, to get housing. I came out of the insurance industry and I'm an entrepreneur. And unless you're working at Volkswagen, or unless you're in the insurance industry, for the most part, you're not getting the amount of money that is required to live in the city of Chattanooga or even the county, which means that we got to do a better job of diversifying our job market. And we know that to be true. Let's not lie to one another. I'm an East Chat born and raised native. Let's talk about Harriet Tubman. Why are you guys moving so swiftly to do things with Harriet Tubman? It's not mixed use, which is what the public has continuously asked for. We asked for mixed use. The Unity Group, which is a 50-year-old plus organization, asked for mixed use. And when we say jobs, we're bringing jobs to the neighborhood. I would ask my own council person, even though he likes to tout about the new Avondale Center, did the hands that are building that center, the ones that are in abject poverty from East Chattanooga, are we building that center? Are the residents the ones with the jobs? And when we talk about bringing jobs to East Chattanooga, let's be real. Jobs for who? If it's not for people in the neighborhood, and it's right around the corner from a school. Are we kidding? We got to do so much better. I'm 30 years old and I don't know half of the things that will make the world turn. But I can see some of the decisions that are being made for this city, and they're not good enough. People are not doing their due diligence. And your job is whether or not we understand that there was a pushing from the mayor. It's your job to fight back if you don't agree. If you don't agree, say that. And that's cool. He may be mad, or anybody in the staff may be mad. So what? At the end of the day, the people in East Chat don't want M1 manufacturing. We want mixed use. We want the ability to have housing. We want the ability to have the jobs and the shops and the entrepreneurship that we so choose. And so I'm asking you guys to do a much better job. Take your time. I'm glad you guys spent 3 hours going over some of this presentation. That's what I want to see. And when you don't agree with something, I want to see you speak up, because we got a lot of things that we need to fix in this city. We can draw people here all day long, but the question is, are we going to keep them here? And the foundational problem that we have is that if we don't have a workforce that's going to be the driving force, and then in particular for young people, we are the driving force of a workforce. If they're not young people coming to this city, and if the young people are leaving this city, then all you have is baby boomers that are really coming to this city. And what are they going to do for growth that's going to be long lasting? And so that requires you to think, plan properly, and to do your due diligence. Please, please, please do better. It's 2019 and some things do have to change, but we have to be the change that we want to see. I love you guys, and guess what? There's nothing you can do about it.
Thank you, Ms. Mott. Is there anybody else here this evening that would like to address the council? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, hold on just a moment, sir. Sorry, I didn't have my cue up. Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you so much, Chair. And I'm just so thankful that Mr. Moreland, who resides in the Avondale community, who's been champion for this community, it happens to be still here in the audience. Thank you so much, Mr. Moreland. Now, can you just come to the mic and let us know what you would like to have for that community that you've worked so hard for advocating for, sir?
Thank you, Councilwoman Coonrod. For those that don't know me, I am James Moreland. You can see the gray hair on my head. I've been around a long time. Been a champion for the Avondale, East Chattanooga area, I guess about 30 years now. I retired from DuPont Company, wanted to go fishing and having a good time, and I hadn't fished much. Been really dedicated to trying to make East Chattanooga a better place, a safer place to live. And I guess over the last few months, I have heard a lot of comments, a lot of statements about different things that's going on, things that people want in Avondale or in whatever community. My chairperson is not here today. He had another engagement, Mr. Ken Smith, the other Ken Smith. Excellent, hard worker. And the reason he's not here tonight, he's on another assignment. When he could be at home watching a good ball game, he's out championing his community, and we do that a lot. I have been really disappointed around the Harry Tubman site. We have struggled for the last 5 or 6 years around that site. When it was a crisis, unfortunately, nobody was available to try to help us save our community. Close to that site are the elderly, which says we are afraid to come out our door. And I thanks to our city council and our mayor and the Chattanooga Housing Authority, that site was removed. Harry Tubman to the Avondale, East Chattanooga area is a real small part of what we are trying to do. And what I would encourage all people to do, to join us to try to make decisions together around our site. When you just get up in a meeting and make statements, you probably don't know what you're talking about around the bigger plan. So we just encourage partnership. I talked to my chairperson, how many people had been to him and asked, what are you trying to do in Avondale? And he told me one. But over the last 2 or 3 months, it's been all kind of people talking about what Avondale want. And I don't understand how anybody can do that without being a part of the mechanism to try to make it better. So I encourage people to just stop. Let's start this year off in a positive way. Let's come in our council. Let's be respectable to them. And let us pull together as a city, as a team, as community, as human beings, and try to make our city better. Not fighting, but pulling together. That's my thoughts. I love everybody. May God bless you.
Thanks, sir. Please.
I like to say that you shouldn't have to live in fear, and
Give
we won't tolerate
Mr. Sylvester.
that.
Give us your Mr. Sylvester. Give us your name first.
Sylvester Harris.
Thank you, sir.
3300 Curtis Street, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And we won't tolerate that. It won't be tolerated, because you got a right to your opinion, and shouldn't have to be feared for that. And we have to do better with that, and it will be done better. And we got you back. We want you to know that, because we don't want you to live that way. You know, you're a lady, and you're going to be treated like a lady. And that's what we're going to say. But when we talk about East Chattanooga, I did get on the bandwagon a little late. I retired. It'll be 2 years next month. Well, I decided to I'm gonna try to help East Chattanooga, because East Chattanooga was looking pretty bad. I drive through East Chattanooga, it's just terrible. I drive through the other parts of Chattanooga, I see stuff going up, things happening, but nothing's happening in East Chattanooga. So I'm wondering why, you know. Yes, sometimes I make statements and not sure of if it's the truth or not. I ask questions. I'm trying to learn. I talk to people. Now I'm trying to learn. I want to learn. We need more people to learn, especially people of color. That's some of our problem. I'm sorry. We got to get on board. You know, we got to start fighting for our neighborhoods. We can't let everybody fight for us. Sometimes we got to stand up and say, look, you know, it's enough of this. Let's get together as a group and let's make this happen. But unfortunately, sometimes a lot of the information is not getting out, you know. You know, sometimes we hear about stuff a little bit too late. Some of the planning on the recreation center, I had my statements about it. I don't know some of the truth and some of the not truth. So I don't know how we find out to get some of this information, because some of this stuff, one of my best friends told me, electrician, BA, he said, I was talking to him about, and I like to thank the councilman right there. He's trying to do a lot for the youth and bring, you know, the trades and stuff back. And that's a good thing. That's what we need. We got to have trades, and we got to teach people, and the young people, because the young people just don't know. If you don't know I took my grandson to the doctor today, and I was looking at the ear and eye, nose doctor, and half the kids don't know what it even consists of to go do that. We don't have the avenues, and we got to start putting this information out and teaching these kids and learning these kids what they can do and what they can be. And we can empower people and get them to stop some of this madness. But when you're lost and out here and don't even know which way you're going, don't know tomorrow if you're going to be working or got a job or anything, you're just lost. So, you know, for me, I was blessed. I went to Kirkman. I learned to trade. It helped me out. So I was blessed in that area, and thank God that I went on forward. But a lot of kids are lost today. They don't know which way to go. And we need help out here with these kids. We got to train these kids. But the thing about the job situation, if you put the job situation out there on Harriet Tubman site, we know that that'll be a little fix for a little while. But then after a couple of years later, that whole thing will turn around, and we're on the outside looking in. I've seen it happen, and that's what would happen. And so what we want is something to bring East Chattanooga to a point of beautified. We want to drive down the street and look over there and see some pretty stuff other than drawing pictures on a tunnel or on boxes and all these, you know, we need a little bit more than that. We got to have more than that. But I think if we bring stuff back to East Chattanooga and beautify it and start making people clean their yards, I got to do better myself, because I looked one day, I thought, oh, I got to get some of these cars gone. But we all got to do better. But if we could do better at East Chattanooga, clean it up, straighten it up, people will be a little bit more proud of what they got. When you in a neighborhood and it looks bad, everybody acts bad. But you have something to look forward to and be proud of, you can hold your head up and be thankful. And you know, and that's what we need. We got to stand up, but we got to quit asking everybody to do it for us, just like she said. We got to get in here and get in these neighborhoods and start trying to do for our own neighborhoods. Start cleaning these neighborhoods up, start asking the city to come in and bring dumpsters and stuff. We can clean up shrubbery and trash and everything else. But another problem we have too is what's bad is about East Chattanooga, I got to say this quick, is a lot of time these people bring trash to East Chattanooga, tires, and at night they dump stuff, and you wake up, stuff dumped in our neighborhoods, dogs left because people don't want to take them to the pound, and we got a lot of stuff like that going on. And this is coming from the outside, coming in. I see it all the time. Thank you, and I hope everybody had a good last year, and we're going to have a real good year this year.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Harris.
y'all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kumar, do you have your light on again, ma'am? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chair. And I also wanted to just say that I know a lot of times the community members think that our mayor is just pushing and coming in our face saying, oh, you have to vote this certain way. Well, that's wrong information. What has happened is we've had a lot of community members that's come and push for something to happen on this site. And again, I want to just thank Sharita and Jermaine. They've been working on this since 2017. to somebody whose eyes are just now opening to realize what's going on and taking place, because now they see the rezoning signs and now they're having people talk about it. This work has been done a year and a half ago. So you're just now seeing, right now we're ready for the next phase. So it's not just something that's actually being rushed into, right? So there has been just small increments of things happening over the course of since 2017. So again, I thank you guys for, just even taking the time to come see what the community wanted. And you guys did listen to it, because it's not just M1, it has R3 zoning as well. And it's addressing everything that the community has asked for to take place on this site. And then also, you guys have just steadily have been addressing the urban gaps of economic equality. And that's the important piece. So whether if it's jobs that we're getting, if it's houses that we're getting, whatever it is to change the trajectory of this impoverished community, then that's what we're gonna do. Because if not, if councils are not addressing those needs to remove barriers, that's our mission. The mayor's mission is to remove barriers so people can have an equitable opportunity to be successful. And if we're not addressing those issues on the council, then guess what? We're a part of that problem. So we don't have time for rumors and the lies that's against our mayors or what he's forcing us to do. We have minds and we can think and make decisions that's best for our communities, and that's what we've been elected for.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Byrd, you got.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to furthermore say we have to find people to buy in. Mr. Sylvester made a good point. When you drive around, you see other communities that are looking amazing and that are flourishing, and then the perception is that the city council and the mayor and the city are putting money into these facilities. We are. We put a lot of money into the structure of downtown and things that go on, but the one thing that we don't do, we're not developing these businesses. It's a lot of people who buy into the community, who buy into the plan. I see JT McDaniel in here. He's one of the advocates of the community. If you look at his portfolio, he has a lot of businesses and a lot of development where he has bought into Avondale and East Chattanooga community. He buys in. Dr. Rump is another African-American male who has bought into the community and who put money into the community. So I think in 2019, we will see that beauty happen if we partner and get with certain people and say, hey, how do we develop our community? Instead of letting people come in and buy it up, we develop it and put back into our community ourselves. And I think we'd be champions for that and come together. It's no limit to what we can do. And just wanted to say hi to JT and thanks for what you do for the community. I do understand, a lot of times things get out of hand and we have our issues, but just thank you for just investing back into the community. You could have took your money and went somewhere else, but you put it back into our community. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Oglesby, you had a motion earlier.
Yeah, it's on the floor.
All right. We had a motion to adjourn at the end of comment.
Second.
All right. We are adjourned. Thank you.
So you're telling tomorrow.